Hello, everyone. Welcome to Boiler Ball post game in the lounge. I am Sam Sprunger, joined by Dustin Shooty. Dustin, the number one Purdue Boilermakers, first game in the Bahamas for the Baha Mar Championship. They walk away with a win, but goodness gracious, that was not a pretty ball game.
No, it went the exact opposite as how I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Because coming into this, I didn't think Memphis was a very good. Maybe they've got good players, but they hadn't quite gelled yet. And as you mentioned, they don't have any players returning from last year's team. So everything on the stat sheet indicated Purdue would probably win this pretty handedly, but Purdue was not prepared for maybe their physicality. And one of the things that stood out to me, I watched some of their games, I think after actually recorded, was their defensive pressure. Like, they defend for 94 feet. They like to do it after makes, but they will get after it after misses. And I thought at times Purdue maybe was, I don't think they were intimidated by that, but maybe a little bit stunned. I don't know. It was just one of those games that I think this will actually be a good early season teachable moment. And I don't mean to bring up all the talking points here in my little soliloquy or whatever you want to call it. But this was a game where the calls didn't necessarily work in your favor. Things were getting chippy, and you just kind of have to find a way to win. When you play in the Big Ten, you're going to have some games like that, whether that's against a Michigan State or a Minnesota. And sometimes it's going to get ugly, and can you find ways to win? And we'll talk about it. But I thought there were a couple guys on the team that I thought made some foolish decisions, and then I thought there were some guys who did some really good things throughout the night.
Well, let's talk about the good, I guess, is the best way. The second half, Fletcher Loyer caught fire in that second half, ended up pacing the way, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 of 10 for 3 from 3-point range. Really was the big highlight of the second half that pretty much helped fuel the comeback, because yes, they did trail late or in that late in the second half. The comeback to where it felt a little more comfortable by the end of the game.
Yeah. He was able to kind of blow it open, got going there in the second half, and I don't know what got him going there, if it was just seeing the ball go through the net, but he struggled pretty good in that first half. And if he doesn't catch fire in the second half, Purdue does not win that game.
No, and I want to say it was maybe Ant Wright that posted on X about Fletcher Loyer. There was a play that happened that he turned around, or he looked at the guy. The guy started running his mouth at him, and I don't even know the guy. And of course, I can't find the tweet now. And Fletcher looks at him, he goes, "Who are you again?" And stepped back and looked at his back of his jersey, then went and then hit like 3 shots in a row. Like that was like what kind of lit the fire under him. It was almost like it was a really, who are you? And then all of a sudden there it went.
Well, but there were moments like that throughout the game. There was a time in the first half when I think it was Doug McDaniel got whistled for a technical. He sought out Loyer and bodied him up. I think he did it twice when they were just walking down the court. And then there was another time when I think it was Zach Davis was shooting free throws, and you could see he and Fletcher Loyer were jawing back and forth at each other. Now I can't read
that. Might have been who it was.
So I don't know. This was in the first. I think this was in the first half, though. Maybe it was early in the second, and I missed
the second.
It might have been early in the second when it was happening. But at some point, he was jawing with Zach Davis at the free throw line pretty good there, and it kind of felt like, I always think back to this, like Reggie Miller, whether people listening are Pacers fans or not, in a documentary that 30 for 30 he did, he basically said, 80% of that trash talk was just me trying to get myself going. And I kind of wonder if that's it. Like, Fletcher's like, I'm struggling. I need to talk some trash here and see if somebody pokes the bear and hits the right button so I can start knocking down shots. I don't know if it was the halftime speech. I don't know if he just got better looks, if he felt more comfortable, what it was. But those final 20 minutes looked a lot better than the first 20.
Well, in that first half, and I listening, I say this in the most diplomatic of ways, listening to the announcers talking at the beginning, because by the end of it I was tired of listening to them talk. But at the beginning of the game, they were talking. Memphis is picked to win the American, so like they're not expected to be a dumpster fire. They're really not. They're now early on, like we've talked. They've got a lot of meshing and getting used to one another. But like they have athletes. They do, like you said, they pressure 94 feet. And we saw that late. Fletcher turned the ball over twice in that last minute and a half. One was he shuffled himself on a spot on the inbound, but then the next time he just threw it in and it got tipped around, and so they're not as bad, I guess, as what I kind of anticipated. I kind of without actually being able to watch them, I saw them as maybe a rebuild, an extreme rebuild. But in actuality, they've got a lot of athletes. Now, they don't have anybody from last year's roster, but they have one player from their roster 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. I noticed that too.
Anthony Hardaway's son transferred away from Memphis and then back to Memphis. So,
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
One of the things that stood out to me, I'm guessing Matt Painter's going to talk about this in his postgame. I don't know. The postgame are weird at these sort of events. But anyway, Memphis hit some threes early in this game. I think they hit three. They made one the rest of the game after they got that 13-4 lead and made three of their first four. They were 1 of 15 the rest of the game. And I kind of made that comment on Twitter. Like if Memphis shoots 3 or 4, and even though Purdue's down, it's kind of the best case scenario for Memphis to fall in love with the 3-point shot, because they do not shoot it well, and at some point water's going to find its level.
Right.
But what Memphis was able to do, they got to the rim too easily, uncontested. And I know Daniel Jacobson having 4 fouls was a problem. Oscar Clough getting 4 fouls late was a problem. TKR in the at the end making it. You got to control your emotions better in that situation, man. Like, you're a senior, you're a leader. I understand it was frustrating, and I don't know that I have a problem with it if he has no foul or even 1 foul at the end of the half, but he didn't play the first 8 minutes of the second half because of that. Right. So I understand that there were some problems Purdue was dealing with in that regard, but you've got to defend the paint better, especially against the team that slashes. And that's the only way Memphis can beat you, is if they're able to get to the cup.
Yeah, well, I found the tweet, by the way. It was Boiler Burner that posted it. It was Davis elbowed Smith in the face, no call. Now, I don't know if he actually now see, this is where I saw Braden throw his head back like he'd gotten hit. The announcers said they thought it was his dreads that went back and hit him in the face. This says hit him with him in the elbow. Doesn't matter. He gets hit in the face. Then he starts talking smack to Loyer at the line, and Loyer asked who he was before stepping back behind him to see what his last name was on his jersey. He's been on fire since. So no. I don't know if that was kind of the point there for Fletcher that got him going, but we'll take it. I mean, another one, CJ Cox. Memphis struggles at some things, and I'm guessing rotation on their defense, because there were 2 straight times down the floor, maybe back to back, but it might be a couple of in 2 out of 3 possessions. CJ Cox standing in the corner all by himself.
Yeah,
and he's not the greatest 3-point shooter, but any 3-point shooter, if he's allowed to stand in the corner, he's going to hit shots. He ended up with 18 points, 7 of 10 shooting, 4 of 7 from threes. This was a game that we absolutely needed CJ to play like he did tonight. Yeah,
I mean, I think, look, I know TKR got off to a really good start. He almost had a double-double. I think he had 10 points, 9 rebounds at the end of the first half. Yep. So he was 1 shy of a double-double. So it's hard to say that Purdue's stars didn't shine. Again, Braden Smith had 11 assists, but between the 3 of them, they did not play well. So this was a game where, you have to have somebody else, one of those other guys, step up, and CJ Cox was that guy. Without him on the floor, or without his production, Purdue, again, they probably lose this game. when things weren't going well, he kept them in it. He kept them. He gave them. I think one of those threes gave them the lead, if I remember correctly. I should have wrote it down.
I think it was the first one.
I think so too, and it was. It might have been in that second.
And I think it was a 1 point lead. I think it was like 65-64 that he hit.
And I think he hit another one in the first half that gave him their first lead.
I think you're right too. He was one of two in the first half.
Yeah, so maybe I'm getting it mixed up now. I should not try to place his threes. He played extremely well, and bottom line is he made some of those plays in big time moments. And I also I think he had 2 offensive rebounds. I know one of them resulted in a bucket. I think both of them resulted in buckets. So like those are the little plays that he made in the game that I thought really made a difference.
You may be thinking, I know he had one where TKR had a little bunny that bounded off. Memphis rebounded it, then got swatted away, and he picked it up and laid it in. Are you thinking maybe that is
an
offensive rebound?
Yeah,
because I remember that play. Looking at the first half, TKR was the only one that had 10 points, 9 rebounds, but he also had 3 fouls. One being the technical foul that took him off the floor for the rest of the. After that, you have Clough and Meyer, who had 6. That was. I mean, Fletcher only had 2 points in that first half. Mm-hmm. CJ only had 5 points in that first half. They're your leading scorers right there with 20 and 18, and they had 7 in the first half.
And what did Braden have? 3?
Braden had 5. He was 2 of 8, 1 of 4 from 3, and that was the 3 at the end of the first half to do the lead at the half.
So he didn't score at all in the second half.
No, but he had 10 assists.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought he had, I guess, 5 points, 1 assist. I thought he had 3 points, 1 assist at the break, but obviously you get the stats right in front of you. If you look at the second half,
I'm looking at the stats right here. He was 0 of 6, including and 0 of 2 from the free throw line. One of the best free throw shooters I've seen shoot, minus maybe Fletcher Loyer, and he went. He's had multiple trips to the line where he's gone 0 of 2.
I know, that's a weird. He's below 70% for the season. It is bizarre.
It's crazy.
I don't know that I would have had that on my Purdue basketball 2025-26 bingo card. If you said to me,
it's funny you mentioned that because I said I didn't have Memphis up 9 on my bingo card.
Yeah, if you would have asked me, will Braden Smith go an entire season without missing 2 free throws in a row, I would have said yes.
Me too. And he's done it multiple times.
Yeah, that's one of the more bizarre developments. And I don't know if it's just a mental thing right now. Sometimes that happens to really good free throw shooters, and they're happening in wins, right? So that's the positive right there. If he
Correct.
But they're going to need him to start knocking some of those down for sure. That's a concerning. I don't know if it's like panic time yet because you trust him, but it is slightly concerning 5 games in.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know, when you would hit that panic button, really, honestly, because you would just always expect to, like you said, water to find its level, and with Braden Smith, we've seen it for 3 years. You just expect it to eventually hit level. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it just doesn't. It hasn't gotten there, and I'm kind of surprised at this point. But like you said, we're only 5 games into it, so I don't know that you really need to hit the panic button. But this was probably the sloppiest game I have seen all year, and that includes maybe even the Kentucky game.
Yeah, I would. Well, because I think you kind of know what to expect in the Kentucky game.
Right, but still, there was some sloppiness there, but this was just downright even sloppy.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. And look, I mean, again, this is a game that when you're not hitting shots and things aren't going in your favor, what are you going to do, and how are you going to find a way to win? And so give them credit because at the end they found a way to do it, but there was a point in the game when it was 64-61 in favor of Memphis. Purdue actually went on a 12-0 run to take the lead. They never relinquished it after that. But there was a point when I thought Purdue may lose this game.
I thought I had that thought too.
It seemed like Memphis was the aggressor. It seems like they were the team. And I'm going to say this knowing that Aaron Bradshaw got ejected for acting like a dummy.
He got fouled out. He didn't get ejected. He got fouled out.
Sure, technically, yes, he got.
He got to sit on the bench the rest of the game.
But that was a bone. But it seemed like, for whatever reason, it felt like almost Memphis was the more composed team for at least a stretch in there, because you had, like you said, Fletcher made some of those silly mistakes in the second half. Purdue was never able to really pull away.
Right.
Like anytime they would
only had a double-digit lead for like 45 seconds.
Yeah, there were times when it was like, okay, Purdue's up 8 or 9 or whatever, they'll be able to pull away here, and they just couldn't close the book. And a lot of that credit goes to Memphis. But I just, there were times when I didn't necessarily like Purdue's body language, and I don't know if that's poise or if that was just like, I don't know. It just didn't seem right to me for whatever reason. But again, they got the win. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. They made me look bad, Sam. I thought this was going to be a 15 to 20 point victory, and just wasn't that way. But
if it makes you feel any better, my 10-year-old was like, "Who's Purdue play?" I said, "Memphis," and he said, "Oh, well, I think Purdue will win by 6." I said, "I think it's going to be closer to 20."
Well, there we go. We were both way off. Yeah, I mean, that was, I do think, to your point, Memphis does have some athletes. They have some physical bodies. It's just a matter of getting them to gel together and learning to play together. Trying to do that with 15 new players in such a short period of time takes a while. So maybe this is the trip that kind of brings them together, and this is the type of basketball we'll see Memphis play the rest of the year. But I think that there are some concerning things that came out of that game.
Memphis 3, yeah, right. Memphis 3 of 9 in the first half on threes. Overall for the game, 4 of 19. So they went 1 of 10 in that second half, which, like you said, that helped immensely because they actually shot below their average because they shot 21% for the game rather than their 30% that they normally shoot. So, but yeah, it's and this is the thing about this. You've got to be critical when critic needs to be. You need to be critical. This was not a pretty game. Purdue walked away with the win. They're going to have to play a heck of a lot better tomorrow night than they did tonight. Doesn't matter who they're playing, Texas Tech or Wake Forest. They're going to have to play a heck of a lot better than what they did tonight and be able to keep their composure a lot more. You're right. Yeah. Now, at the start of that game, before it kind of got out of hand crazy, it looked like TKR was keeping the same intensity that he had those first 2 games, to where he was going after the ball, crashing after the ball, getting some rebounds, making some contact, but not bully type of contact. Now, were the refs' whistles a little odd? Maybe, but you know what? You cannot say that's the issue and that's why they played this way. No, Memphis punched you in the mouth and you weren't ready for him to do it.
Yeah, period. I think I completely agree with you. You have to be prepared for that type of physicality. That's the way Memphis is going to win these games. And I think that probably was Penny Hardaway's message. Like, be aggressive. Like, if we pick up fouls, who cares? Don't let them get points. Don't let them get baskets, and make the officials call it. And it's hard. Like, what are they supposed to do? I would probably tell my team the same thing if I was. Sure. I don't know what kind of underdog they were. I didn't see the line for that game, but yeah, I mean, I think like we saw this last year. There were moments. Now, I don't know that TK ever picked up a technical. He might have. I don't know off the top of my head, but there were times when it would, he would kind of have that bad body language and pick up silly fouls, and one foul might lead to another. You just have to stay composed in those moments. And I understand it's frustrating, and I know things aren't going your way, but that's part of being a leader. That's part of being, you've dealt with this now for 4 years. Like you've got to figure that part of it out, because that can't happen against Texas Tech. That can't happen against Michigan or Illinois. Right. Because not only that, and I don't think it was lack of effort but TK wasn't nearly as effective the rest of the game as he was in that first half. And you
Right.
need him to be able to be aggressive. And the 3 fouls is obviously a big part of that. So you can't gift the other team fouls. I understand Purdue's in a better position with Oscar Clough and Daniel Jacobson. They've got 15 fouls between the 3 of those guys. But, I mean, we saw in the first 2 games, the last 2 games, he's a big reason why they're ranked number 1 in the country, and they need him on the floor.
Well, Daniel Jacobson only played 2 minutes in the second half, period.
Yeah.
That was a kind of and he was in foul trouble. That's why he wasn't, he only played 2 minutes. He had 3 fouls, and then he got his 4th, and they pulled him, and so he's never got a chance to get back on the court. Yeah, TKR, 1 of 2 in the second half, only 2 rebounds, 1 assist, but he had 2 personal fouls. So he played half the 10 minutes of the second half before he fouled out, and he fouled out with what was it, 4 minutes, a little over 4 minutes, a little under 4 minutes. I don't remember exactly how. It was quite a bit of time left on the clock when he fouled out, and he's got to keep his composure, especially being that senior leader, to where I mean, Braden Smith had 4 personal fouls too, so I mean, he was a little sloppy with the chances he takes and stuff like that. But all in all, Purdue comes out with the win. Dustin, do you see this carrying over, being a little bit of a hangover, or is this one of those, okay, Matt Painter and the senior leadership is going to snap this into shape and they're going to look like a better team? Not necessarily saying they're going to win no matter what tomorrow, but they're going to be a better looking team tomorrow.
I would think so, because the last time, I don't want to say I felt like this after the Oakland game, but there were like some concerns, I think. And then what did they do? They went out on the road and they beat a really good Alabama team in Tuscaloosa. So I do think this was one of those things where, because of Purdue's poor shooting early, Memphis was able to hang around. They were able to set the tone physically. Purdue got in some foul trouble. Right. I just think that you're going to see a better, more well-rounded performance tomorrow from Purdue. They can kind of hit that reset button. They're going to have, I don't know what the travel schedule was like. I mean, I know they left Tuesday. So there's just a lot of different things that you can factor into here, but I do think you're going to see a better performance. And like you said, I don't know that that's going to result in the victory, but they have to play cleaner basketball. And if they get off to a good start, that's the first step.
Well, the nice thing is, they did have a rough shooting night, to start, especially starting out. And overall, they only shot 46% from the field, 37 from beyond 3. They shot 82% from the line, which, they only went to the line 11 times. Memphis almost missed more than Purdue even attempted. But they only turned the ball over 11 times, which was, thank goodness. If they would turn it over more, it might have been a different outcome. But we do get a chance to play tomorrow against either Texas Tech or Wake Forest. I don't care either one, as long as we come back and play a better ball game than what we did tonight.
Yeah, I think you summed it up well. I think legitimately, Purdue just seemed like they couldn't get to the basket. Right. Like, even TK had to rely on his floater. So I think I really liked what they did in games against Alabama and Akron. Establish TK in the post, establish Oscar Clough in the post. It took Oscar a long time to get going tonight too. And he's another one that he kind of needs to get going early, I think, to be more productive and have a little bit more confidence. So I think tomorrow that's going to be, we'll see what happens. I don't, whether it's Texas Tech or Wake Forest, I think that's got to be the intent, is to try to get the post going early and then be able to, draw the defense in, kick out for your open threes and knock those down. And, we'll see what happens. But this was one of those where you forget about it. You're glad you got the win. You're still undefeated, and you got a chance to play for another MTE tournament championship tomorrow.
Well, learn from what you didn't go well.
Exactly.
Learn from what didn't go well, and make those make those mental changes and put it to use tomorrow night when we get going against either the Demon Deacons or the Red Raiders. Either one, it doesn't matter. Let's get that championship. So, well, that brings us to the end of Boiler Ball post game in the lounge. We will be back tomorrow night after the game, hopefully celebrating like a fifth or a sixth straight MTE title. I think is fifth. Yes, but that's a big statement for the Boilermakers if they can get that done. So for Dustin Schutte, I'm Sam Sprunger. We'll see ya tomorrow night after the game.